Well, hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. We have just finished up Hack 2020. Now it's time for the judging. And later on, we'll also be doing testimonies while the judging is going on, and then announce the winners for the categories. Let me introduce you to why we're doing judging. Judging is a core part of mass collaboration because our desired outcome is impact. Judging is not meant in this context to encourage competition, but instead to sharpen the efforts of all participants in increasing the impact of their work. The desired outcome is better work and a better story to tell about our collaborative work. Recognition is a focus because it reminds us of the unique contribution we all make to the larger body. Each is valuable. So, we have four amazing judges who will be with us today. We have Eno and Fred and Keith, all from Phoenix, Arizona. And we have Yvonne from North Carolina. Before we begin the judging, we would like to give you the presentations for each of the entries. So, the first entry that we have on cue is Love Your Neighbor. All right, we're working through the technical difficulties here. I think we're having an audio issue. Just hang in there with us. All right, let's try. Yeah.
It's the evidence of a broken, fallen world. And there are many types, as you can see from Compassion.com's research. Even here in the affluent US, you can see all this evidence of brokenness and poverty going into the millions. Our unique solution is to combine tech with a holistic view of poverty, plus people development, plus localized providers and opportunities for that development to address different kinds of poverty. This leads to the Love Your Neighbor or LIN app, a digital platform that connects people to local human development opportunities to address different forms of brokenness and poverty, allowing locals to get help or to support others by supporting the organizations to provide those development opportunities. God really cares about the broken, as Proverbs 19:17 says, whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done. And this is just another view of different kinds of problems that LIN seeks to address in our communities. And now for the demo, I want to show you what we've been designing and building during this hackathon. So what's next for LIN? First, we want to launch our landing page, blog, and social media channels to generate awareness and begin to acquire users while we complete the MVP before running a pilot with one church or one nonprofit. And in closing, Faith Tech, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been a huge blessing and a ton of fun. From Atia, Diana, Josh, and Damilare.
When you service providers near you, which you can then filter based on your particular needs and goals. When you select to submit a request, you'll be taken to the provider's page where you can learn about their heart for caring for others and let them know exactly what you're going through. And this is really the power of LIN, being able to connect all people to not only nonprofits doing great work, but also to churches, building a pipeline between those in need to churches who care not only about physical needs, but about their spiritual needs as well. It allows us to spread Jesus to the unreached and often forgotten brothers and sisters in our own communities. Before submitting a request, you'll be asked to sign up, and that's where we get to know each individual a little better. By finding out their gifts and their dreams, we're making them think about how God has designed them, whether they know it or not. We'll collect more basic information to assist the care provider, verify your identity, and give a chance to review your request before submitting.
All right. I think we have Yvonne with us. And Yvonne, would you like to share with us about the judging criteria?
Sure. I'd just like to share with everyone how we're going to be evaluating projects today. All of these projects have a complete project page in the Indigenous team members listed. And we're specifically looking for product and design. Does the product address the organization's need? Did they start from scratch or build on an existing technology? How user-friendly is it, the technology? And how much progress did they make during the event? We're looking for impact. How much impact, quality and quantity could the solution have? Could this solution solve a big problem or a little one? Could it make a big change or a little change on that problem? We're also looking for viability and sustainability. So how viable is this solution in the real world? Is this solution implementable, and how would it be scalable? And last but not least, we're looking for teamwork and the presentation itself. So how well did the team communicate with each other and the audience, and how well did they respond to questions from the judges?
Very good. For the next entry, we have Ethnopedia. Uh-oh, I think we're having audio issues again.
Hi, I just wanted to give a brief update on the Ethnopedia database project. If you recall, that project, Ethnopedia had a database with many newly added people groups from India and Southeast Asia, and they wanted to be able to use that for some of their research in trying to inform Christians who are taking the gospel of Christ to unreached people groups. And they wanted, this database had a lot of different entries for the same people group, and they wanted to be able to consolidate all those entries into one per people group and add up the populations that were available. And they were originally thinking about doing this by hand, but they thought it would take actually months of work because the database was fairly large. And over the course of Saturday morning, we were able to do this consolidation by writing some scripts and provide Ethnopedia back with an updated Excel spreadsheet with the entries consolidated in the way that they were asking for. Going forward, we're happy to make any additional changes that they might want, some small tweaks in just the format of how the data was consolidated. And so that's what happened on that project. Thank you.
All right. Let's see what our next project is going to be. Just one moment, bear with us. One of the neat things about this hackathon is it's been a very organic hackathon, which actually I found has removed a lot of the friction that you would get like in the business environment. And it's been really amazing. So yeah, Yvonne, have any thoughts you'd like to share about like anything that you experienced during the hackathon?
I was thinking that we needed a drum roll for all of these videos.
Drum roll.
For fun, right? Drum roll, please.
I know, right? All right, it's the Bible Story app.
And we feel that this app will bring about an amazing opportunity for the Rohingya around the world. Rohingya people, because they've been displaced from their homeland, now live in over 30 countries around the world. And the majority of these people have access to smartphones. They stay connected with their family across national borders and across the world, and they're always having these in their hands. And we see this as an opportunity to create an app that allows the Rohingya people to hear the gospel in their heart language, that's simple enough for them to use, that gives them the opportunity to hear the truth of the gospel. Currently, there's a team working on creating this Bible story set, about 30 stories that we want to see put into this app, put into the Play stores, available worldwide. And this is really to do two things. One is to equip those that are Christians that are working with Rohingya around the world to be able to have a tool to share the gospel, to disciple them, to teach them, and also to make it available for people in areas where there is no work, where there's no Christians, where there's no opportunity for them to hear the gospel, like in their native Rakhine state in Myanmar.
This weekend, my team and I built a simple mobile app to allow audio Bible stories to be distributed to people groups that are not familiar with using sophisticated mobile apps, may have limited network access, and may not be comfortable using some of the other options available. So the app presents a very simple list of all of the available Bible stories. It includes images and numbers to help people that may not be able to read the titles of the story or the biblical references. For each story, a simple tap then reveals a basic audio player interface that can be used to listen to the audio, to move around, pause, and also shows a visual of what's being described. The app comes bundled with all of the audio files and all of the images, so there's no need to have a working network connection. You could share the app with a friend and it's entirely self-contained. In the future, we're going to work on building out functionality to enable this sharing directly from the app itself and to allow users to quickly connect via WeChat to some people to follow up with. We hope that this has a positive impact for people working amongst people groups that traditionally have been underserved by technology and have had a difficult time accessing scriptural truth in their own language.
All right. How about that? A offline first app for a region that is known to have internet connection issues, that is contextualized to the target people group. I'd say that's a great solution. All right. I think it's time for another drum roll for the next app. Himalayan Tea House. Oh. Here we go.
We all have a passion for the good news to reach all corners of the world. That's why we're at this hackathon after all. But where did we first hear about this? Maybe it was reading the Great Commission, maybe it was a visiting speaker at our church, or maybe it was from hearing a missionary share stories about the people group that they worked with. Stories are a main way that we get to know someone, and the stories of Southwest China remain largely untold. Resources like Joshua Project have a lot of interesting data, but unfortunately a lot of this is not story driven and some of the data is actually outdated. The missionaries we work with specifically wanted us to focus on awareness, educating supporters and UPGs on Southwest China, as well as alignment, getting them to feel the same call to action and passion for these unreached people groups, and finally activation, empowering their supporters and senders to pray and serve. These were the main three, in addition to a number of other design criteria. In terms of solution, the main ask was to come away with a lot of different creative options.
We're so excited to hear what we
to share what we've come up with and tell you how we were inspired. So with that, here are a couple of our ideas. The first is a UPG video series talking about the importance of going overseas. So this is a video series detailing the importance of going overseas.
One of the ideas we came up with was to create a WordPress site with more information about UPGs, people groups in this area, and engaging stories about what God is doing and the hardships. This is the homepage, and then we have some other pages here as well. Not a completed site necessarily, but hoping to give a picture of what something could look like to the Pioneers team, editing them and seeing what could be possible, could be done.
And finally, we came up also with an email service.
Tea House is a website that aims to inform and inspire supporters to engage more with missionaries in Southwest China and for them to grow a bigger heart for the unreached people in that region. Rather than storing all this information in one giant repository or static website, we decided to allow users to subscribe to various email series that will allow them to learn in bite-sized increments and hopefully maintain interest over a longer period of time. We use the MailChimp API to store and maintain the list for subscribers for following any of these email series groups. With this API, missionaries will be able to create, update, and delete any of these email content without having any coding knowledge, allowing the website to run smoothly and up to date without requiring a developer at all times.
Those were just some of our ideas. Thanks so much for watching.
All right. Reaching the unreached. This is awesome. Now, the next app in question, or the next project that we're going to go over, is Orature. I think we might be having technical difficulties. Bear with us. Drum roll.
Welcome. I wanted to talk to you about our work this weekend with our team working on Orature, a product that Associates is developing for the purpose of helping with narration and specifically translation of oral scripture for oral only or oral preference cultures. We worked with a fantastic team this weekend that consisted actually of some newcomers to us, Christopher Brown and also Brian Singer. Thank you, great guys. Great chance to meet you and work alongside you. Also, Tony, Joe, Max, and Craig, part of the WAA team. Our challenge this weekend was to take an existing software in development, Orature, which, like we mentioned before, manages and is able to record scripture. But we recognize that some people want to use their own third-party software, DAWs or digital audio workstations, simply because they have a preference, a lot of experience, or maybe it works very specifically with their hardware. So we actually tackled a number of them this weekend. The first was Logic Pro, available exclusively for Macintosh. Our goal here obviously is to get commands over from the Orature program over to Logic Pro and have it record and then send that back. As you can see here, we were successful in being able to get it to start recording and somewhat successful in getting some of that back. Part of the challenges as we discovered working on this was that it did require the installation of Python 2 and Xcode beforehand if you were going to be able to utilize on a target machine. And also at the moment, our progress has showed us that the WAV files coming back need a little bit more cleanup. They happen to be longer than we were expecting to return at the end of the file. And also it would require some training and setup in order to be able to make the two systems compatible. So generally speaking, good information that we've got out of that. It may be possible, but may also not be recommended for us. Another product we worked on was Audacity, available for Linux, Macintosh, and Windows machines. Very prevalent. We did have success bringing files back and forward between both of those. We took a couple different approaches. One was which was essentially requiring the user to kind of turn on this kind of pipe in Audacity, the ability for Audacity to listen for commands to come in and scripting. And it also required that we make a specific distro of Audacity that would be primed to be able to do that. We primarily were working with that on Linux. The Mac and PC versions have not yet been explored. The second method that was also tried was just to pass information automatically to that without requiring any configuration or any setup or any specific distro. That one was successful, but also required extra steps when saving. So instead of just kind of saving or closing out and firing the take or recording back, you would actually have to go up and to the top menu and actually select a couple things as you did so. So it added a little bit more work. Generally a success. Neither of the methods necessarily address essentially cue points, or maybe if you're thinking about recording a chapter where verses would go in that, passing that information back, but not necessarily a showstopper, but things that we're working on. Another feature here, of course, was Reaper, which Jesus Films, Christopher, and also Dennis, someone we got to meet along the way, use and have an exposure to. We were moderately successful with this as well. And this one here, we were able to pass the information for it to be able to record. Exporting was a little bit of a problem, meaning once you've recorded the file, sending it back, it uses macros and the configuration file in order to set that up. Another method we tried was being able to pass information automatically through just command line calls. And that seemed to work very well. Didn't require any of that setup. However, what is still yet to be worked on is the ability to work with files that need editing, of a recording that's already been made, but I want to go in this time and be able to alter that. So we think that maybe the answer lies in kind of combining both methods and to allow us to do all of those methods. So very successful weekend. We learned a whole lot, and a lot that we'll be able to take away and continue to make this product more and more available to the general public. So that's great. Thank you.
All right, man, we've got some great submissions this year.
Absolutely.
All right. Don't know what the next app is yet, but I think it's time for another drum roll. Oh, well, how about that? That's all there are. That was the last one. No more. All right. So we're going to move into deliberation by the judges. And while the judges are going over things, we would like to invite all of you to tell us about your experience and fill out the participant survey. This data is really helpful for us as we plan future hackathons and work to inspire a generation of technologists. We know that not everything can be perfect, so we want to hear about what you liked and what could have been better, and how this event inspired you. Soon we will have a Zoom link out for sharing testimonies while waiting for the judges, and then when it's time for the judges to announce their winners, we will also have audience choice. Now, audience choice is going to be important because it's going to be who hoots and hollers the loudest, from what I hear. So anyway, this would be a great time if you need to take a quick break, grab a snack, grab some coffee like I'm going to, and catch you all on the Zoom call. See you there.